sure things are running okay before I start talking. Oh, so I'm only gonna be on here for a few minutes. Um, my taper of Remeron was about a month and a week ago, and my anxiety is just out of control. Usually I start feeling better by now, but something went, it just didn't go right this time. The last few cuts were pretty reasonable. I dealt with it okay, but for some reason this time it blew everything out of the water. Maybe because the lower you go, it kind of gets to be a little bit bigger of a percentage. I think it was like 13%, which for me is a lot. Um, Honestly, the physical symptoms were tolerable, but the only thing that's making it worse is the actual anxiety. It's making the physical symptoms really hard. None of this stuff disappears. My life still goes on. I still have to do what I have to do, just like I did for the last 8 years. Um, is it harder? Yeah. Is it harder to grasp that I have to change my lifestyle again? And I'm trying to deal with the anxious part, the anxiety part, um, how to cope with it again, and what to do, how not to obsess on anxiety, how not to let it keep looping in my head. Because literally, I'll wake up and I'll start thinking about it, and here it comes, here it comes, here it comes, and then I'll think about it more. Then I'll get discouraged, and there it is, like almost a panic attack every day. And now it's like a PTSD for every time I do something that the anxiety gets really bad. And I'm scared I'm going to keep looping it into a point where I'm going to make it I'm making it way worse than it should be. I know I'm just sensitive as well from tapering, but it has been a month and a week. It shouldn't be this bad. Maybe it should. I don't know. Maybe it's just always different. I have no idea. Wish I knew. But it's been a wild ride for sure for this specific taper. Um, I probably only have to taper 4 more times, but at this rate, I can't even imagine tapering again. I usually taper every 4 months, but as bad as this has been, I can only imagine that it might even take 6 months, and it's still two years out that I might be off. You know, at that rate. But then again, if even if it takes longer, I want this over with, but I also I don't want to suffer this way. If the tapers are going to get this bad, near coming to an end, it sucks. Just sucks. The anxiety's killing me. My anxiety stems from my gut. It just feels like a huge fear in my gut. It feels like I'm terrified in my gut. And the worse it gets is the more it spreads out into my body and makes my other symptoms, the burning on my skin, just everything, just a lot worse. Akathisia, just things that I shouldn't be dealing with anymore. But it's amazing. The nervous system is such a piece of shit. I was doing the best last before this last taper, but I think it's because the last two tapers didn't really affect me so much. It did, but it's not like this. This one, I imagine once I recover and can get out of my head and things get better, I'll probably be at the best place I've been. But I have no idea how long that's going to take. Right now, I feel discouraged because it's been a month and a week since I tapered, and it seems like it's gotten worse, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. Not for how long I've been dealing with this. It just doesn't seem to go with the norm of how it usually goes. So, discouraged, anxiety, everything's 100 times harder than it was. So, I have to accept that the anxiety's here again. And that's part of the problem is that I keep fighting it, and that makes it a lot worse. And just accept it and move on. Wake up and go, oh, I know I'm going to have anxiety, whatever. If I say that, I won't worry about it, and it won't fucking build. It's pretty much the key. Between that, distraction's great, but it's exhausting. I can't distract 24/7. I mean, I did that for a while, but I could barely work because of it. Because it was constant. I don't have the energy to distract 24/7. Even TV and stuff is not enough to distract. Once in a while I can get into something and feel a little better and the anxiety calms down. But then what do? I think about the anxiety right afterwards and go, oh, it wasn't that bad. Oh, here it comes. It shouldn't be that sensitive. I'm hoping in some time that the sensitivity calms down enough for me when I do think about it, it doesn't just ramp up. That's the hopes. And sometimes the only way out of this is if something else happens. Because if something else happens, then my mind's on something else. But I mean, in reality, I've been through a lot. The 1st of July, I was in the hospital to get a heart loop recorder put in, and before that, I was in the hospital for 5 days, and here I am in August. I tapered my meds a month and a week ago, and I don't think my body was ready for it. Well, I don't think I was ready for it. I felt like I was. I actually felt like, well, I could probably deal with it. I could probably tolerate it, but no, it was a rough one. Absolutely rough one. I'm gonna try to do more meditation. It's been so hard. I mean, I don't know if anybody can relate to the anxiety in their gut. And I'm not talking about diarrhea and stuff. I'm talking about feeling that fear in their gut, and the worse it gets, it's a sick feeling. Sick anxiety. And it just blows up on you. And it just spreads throughout the body. And the worst part about being in benzo withdrawal syndrome, if it wasn't for tapering, I probably would have been over this years ago. But everybody thinks they should get on something new. And this is the only reason I'm still here dealing with this, is because of Remeron. When I'm off Remeron, I don't know what I'm going to do to get past a lot of the bullshit I'm going to go through. But I can't go back to the doctors for it, that's for sure. Thank you. I always have hope, but when it comes to years later and living a certain lifestyle and working with it and moving forward, it's absolutely disheartening when some of these things come back full force and I don't know how to get out of it. Like usually with the other symptoms, my body will just take care of it eventually and I'll start to feel better. The anxiety, my whole mental status, it's like I don't know how to get out of the loop. I don't know how to get out of that spiral because I am making it worse. And how many times, I'm not going to do it, but how many times do I think, God, I wish I could just take a fucking pill, calm it the fuck down like everybody else. But I can't because that's what got me in this situation in the first place. so I know I can't. I have to suffer with it. And that fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. Ugh. Just cracking open a beer. Just kidding. Just water. Shit. I do drink sparkling water. Just plain. Of course, this one kind of tastes a little odd, but well, you're definitely not alone with that. It's a lot of people don't get it when I say I have anxiety in my gut. They just assume I'm talking that I have cramps and diarrhea and stuff. If that was the case, I wouldn't give a fuck at all. I've had that most of my life. But sometimes I wonder if that's coming from my gut. Like, if my gut is fucked up and I need probiotics, but I can't take probiotics. It's probably not that, but like, I wish I could try some things. Because I cannot afford to get worse. I can't afford to make this worse. But the anxiety brings out all the bad symptoms. And it keeps me in this horrific wave. And then that in turn makes the anxiety worse. Ugh. I am sitting at a nice nature trail. I just look at the trees. It's different where I live now, but it's well worth the move. I think it plays part of the problem. Um, because I did just move months back. It may have been a little while now, but it's still new. So, but I feel pretty content, so I don't know. Forgot my reading glasses. I have some up here, yeah. Some really bad ones, but at least I can read your stuff. Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, Frail was a good one. That was yeah, definitely a deep tune. I actually probably could start working on music again. I probably should. My studio is set up. But dude, when I get like this, I get so fucking depressed too. And it's so hard to get back to those things. But I probably should. If anybody doesn't know, I did come out with a new album last year. It's been 1 year actually. So you can go look it up. Missing in Stars, Perfusing the Circuit. Some really good tunes on that. It's probably my best work to date. But I don't think I could do that again. The stress building that album was absolute hell. But maybe that kind of thing was taming my anxiety, even though I had a lot of it. But I would get like these kind of surges of anxiety. It would last for 2-3 weeks tops. And then it would start, something else would happen in my life, or my brain would just get so bored of it, I just stopped thinking about it all the time. But now this is totally different because it's bigger. It's bigger and it keeps getting bigger, and then I worry about it more, so I'm not getting the chance to get bored of it. So breaking the cycle is something I have to do. I have to do it. Being who I am and having these health issues and stuff. I mean, it's made me who I am today, but I need for things to get better because I've done this for almost a decade. 2 more years, it'll be a decade. And I'm hoping to be off the Remeron by then, but I can't guarantee it because like I would never taper feeling like this. And it would just have to take a while. I just have to take as long as it takes. And I also have to fight people and say, I'm not going to the hospital to try to fix this anxiety. I'm not going to take 100 different pills to try to tame the anxiety because it's just going to make it worse. Anything that down regulates the, something that's for calming for me, I've had every time it's a fucking setback. So I'll calm down, and then after that like goes away, whole body freaks out, and then the anxiety is like 10 times worse. It's just my nervous system's too fucked up for that. I might be able to do it down the road, but not now. That's for sure. But honestly, I don't remember having an anxiety bout this bad. And I'm not talking about first acute withdrawal. So this is absolutely a rough one. Uh, yeah. I know I've come this far, and I mean people remind me of that a lot. They'll be like, "Yeah, but you've come so far." It's like, "Yeah." And I was actually living the best life I could not even 2 months ago. And it was decent. It was hard still, but I wasn't terrified. But now it's like I just have this overall doom in my gut, and it makes me want to cry all the time. It's because I'm so tired. So tired of it. This is I was asked what just triggered this. This was triggered because I tapered the Remeron about a month and a week ago. And since my nervous system's so fucking shot still from ever since benzos, getting off of benzos, that fucked my nervous system. It's so dysregulated and so fucked up for so long. But then during all that time, I was tapering all this other stuff too, keeping it dysregulated. And Remeron, I was never supposed to be on it in the first place. That's the fucking thing. I was never supposed to be on it. But I was prescribed Remeron just to get some sleep because I didn't sleep for like 14 days. And it worked, but it made me a zombie. And now I'm still suffering with nervous system damage and brain damage because I'm still tapering this stuff, and it's just like itching. It's like itching at the nervous system all the time. And sometimes like I'll taper and I'll get like really bad physical symptoms. Sometimes I'll get really bad DPDR, really bad mental symptoms. Like this time, it took anxiety and threw it through the roof. But the worst part about the anxiety is there's nothing I can do. I can try to relax as much as I can. I can try to meditate as much as I can. But the worst part about this is my brain keeps it in a fucking loop, and I can't stop scanning for it. Can't stop looking for it. Yes, and stress and anxiety is the worst for nervous system dysregulation. And the more I'm anxious, is the more stress it's putting on my nervous system. So at what point, where do you go? It'll be an endless loop until I stop that cycle somehow. And I'm not sure how. I've been through this a long time, but I've never been in it this long. It's more of those things. It's like the more I do something and I'm not having a horrible time, is the more I won't think about it. But like this morning, I woke up horrific. It was fine until I started thinking about it, and I made it almost to a panic attack. So now I've got this PTSD in my head of when I wake up. Now when I watch TV, I know my anxiety is going to be high because it's been high. So it's going to be times. It's going to have to be times where it's not that high, and I scan for it, and it's like, oh, that's not bad. And then eventually, I'm not going to scan for it as much. I mean, I was to a point where I didn't scan for it barely at all. And that was a while. Now I'll get there again, but I don't feel as strong this time. Like I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted of this. So I know I'll have to do it, but I feel so weak. I don't feel strong enough to do it. Tomorrow I have a heart doctor appointment to get my loop recorder implant checked. So far so good. So that'll be off my plate. So good thing for that. I've heard a couple times that I should probably start writing music again. So I might start doing that. Get ready to do it. But it's just I can't imagine starting new projects. Who knows? I'll try. Hold on one sec. Here we go. I can deal with a lot. The anxiety brings me to my knees. Thing is, I had none of these problems before this whole mess. I never had this much anxiety in my life. I mean, I'm not talking acute withdrawal, but I'm talking about before this whole mess. I always say if I could go back to the anxiety I had when I was before this mess, and I was actually thought I had a bad anxiety, I would love that anxiety. Yeah, this today is more of a rest day, but it's hard because the more I rest, the more I get in my head. So I have to figure out to distract. I have some work I have to do, and that'll be okay. It's nothing hard. But like right now, I'm sitting at the nature preserve, but I'm talking to you. I just needed to vent today. I needed to do it. Needed to talk about it. Um, my girlfriend listens very much, and I talk to her. But today, I just needed to, at this very moment, I needed to talk about it for like a half hour and just do it. Yeah, I wish you too. I wish you all the best. I'm going to start doing research again, tips and tricks, because there's nothing, in this situation, there's nothing I can do other than take care of myself, rest, maybe learn, get back into meditation more again, make it make it part of my life and calm down my nervous system. If that's what it takes to get to the next point to taper again, just to get back to who I was months ago, which wasn't the greatest me, but yeah, I mean, I haven't played guitar in months, honestly. I I I went through a big move and it's good. It's good. It's a good situation and I'm happy. But it was a big change. Just like when I moved last time, it was such a huge change. I didn't work. I didn't do music for months. And then when I got back into it, I started, it was fine. But I got to get back into what I do, you know. Probably the best idea. Yeah. Well, my problem is when I write a song, I instantaneously think production because that's part of the fun for me. But what I need to do is just make sure the system's up and running. Um, just write some stuff, even if it's depressing as shit or whatever. Just something. Just something, and get back to who I am. Ugh, but it's hard. It's hard. It has nothing to do with anything other than I can't get my head wrapped into doing it. Because once I start, I'm in it. And then it's back to writing a lot of music and making it making it another part of my life. So we'll see. All right, I'm gonna go off now. Thanks for hanging out and hearing me talk about anxiety. And if anybody's got any really good tips or tricks or things that maybe people don't think of, or even if something that you do that just helps a little bit, just put it down in the comments. Other people will read this. Yeah, focus is very hard. I have a real hard problem with it. Like if I could just focus and watch a TV show and get into it, I mean half my problems would be over, but I can't focus anything. This is the most I've focused in a while. And when I do these things, I can focus better, because I'm talking about it, but I'm also talking about something that is the problem. So, getting back into music or trying to switch some focuses in general might help and it might not. Might make things make more stressful. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm gonna head off here. I wish everybody well, and like I said, anybody's got any fun tips, anxiety tips, anything. It sounds simple. Just jot it down in the comments, and yeah, we'll talk soon. I'm gonna keep updating on this. So this whole journey has been difficult, and when I disappear for a while, usually means it's not as difficult. So if you don't see me, be happy. Um, I still try to come on once in a while anyway, but if you don't see me too often, it's a good thing. So take care, everyone. Later on. You have a great day.